This is the Be the Solution podcast, and I'm Maria Quattrone. And this morning I'm here with Joe Fitzpatrick from Remax Professionals in Newport, Rhode Island. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm great.
I wanted to be in a business that I did not have a ceiling. Take a pen and a piece of paper, draw a line, draw another line next to it. At 365 days, if you drew 365 lines, you started here with one line, but look how far you've come.
And Joe, look how far you have come.
Good morning, Maria.
Welcome,
How are
my
you?
friend. I'm fantastic this morning, and yourself, sir.
Good. Thanks for having me on. Ted from my office loaded me some episodes so I could get some context and understand what was going on. And I'm seeing that you had Adam Contos and Brittany Pino and Don Matheson on here. So I'm in some very elite company here, but I'm looking forward to it. And just wanted to say thanks for having me on, Maria.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk with you today. So, Joe, I always like to ask my guests first thing, why real estate and how the heck did you get here?
Oh, good Lord. It's a long story, but I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. But basically, how do I get this? In a nutshell, my mother was born in Scotland, but actually spent a lot of her childhood growing up in New York. So I had, even as a child, an American passport. So I think I knew from age 15 or 16 I was going to move to America when I finished school. So I came over here. I was working in, the restaurants, washing dishes and so on, the usual stuff. And I actually saw an ad in a newspaper that said something to the effect of exciting sales job, restaurant experience a plus, or something along those lines. It was kind of a creative ad. And I responded to it, and it was an ad for a rental agent for a Prudential Prime Properties real estate office. And that's how I got my start. I just basically saw an ad in the paper, wanted to get a 9-to-5 job and get into sales. And this is what I did. This is how I got into it. So I spent the first year and a half essentially scrubbing leads for sales agents and then just giving over the leads. And took me about a year and a half to figure out that I wasn't getting paid for any of that. And there was no referral fees. It was just, you just sat at a desk all day and scrubbed these leads and gave them to the sales agents. So you got to learn the hard way sometimes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We just didn't pop up here in one day, right?
Yeah.
Many
this was back
years.
in 90. This was 97.
So 97, you enter.
Yeah.
You're
this was
scrubbing
before
leads.
Cell phones.
You're an ISA basically.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that. I got hired as a rental agent. I did a rental here and there, obviously. But yeah, we essentially scrubbed leads for the sales agents. But this was when we had the big MLS book. You had to flick through it. Yeah, this is before MLS, before I think I got my first e-machine in 1998, which was my first computer. But yeah, this is way back. It's going back, 25 years maybe?
Way back when?
Yeah.
Way back
Fun
when.
times.
So so that's quite a bit of time. You've seen a lot happen in that last couple decades and a half.
Yeah, I was with Prudential for 3 years, and then I joined Remax in 2000. So I've been with them for 22 years. I've been with Remax for 22 years now.
Wow. That is quite some time. So how did you make that transition? You went from scrubbing the leads and now you're like, I want to be the agent.
Yeah, it took me a really, really long time to figure out how to do anything really. But it took me about 3 years of doing rentals exclusively before I kind of fell into my first sale. One of my, we always tell the younger agents now that tenants become buyers and landlords become sellers. But back then I didn't know. I just fell into it. And one of my tenants actually bought a building and just brought me into the transaction. So I went to the showing, even though they found the building themselves. I showed them one building. They sold it. Even on the 50-50 split, I was with Prudential. I made $12,000. And that just changed my life. And, I really, really focused. Even though I ended up doing rentals for about 6 or 7 years, I really tried to get into sales at that point. Like I said, I just fell into that one. But that was it. Once I got a taste of the real commissions, I really started getting into it. Then I was just cold calling banging on doors. I mean, I still have a landlord that tells the story how I found him at one of his rental properties on the third floor. There was no roof or anything. He was up there putting on a new roof, and I found him with my clipboard and was asking him for stuff. He still tells the story now, 20 years later. But when I knocked on the door, he didn't answer. I just kept going until I found him upstairs banging a hammer. But that's what you got to do. You just call all your landlords and hope to God that one of them wants to sell, and there's your first listing, and then your listing leads to buyers. We all know the rest. But it took me a really long time to kind of figure out. Probably made a solid 10 or 12 years of really bad, emotionally and financially costly mistakes before I started to kind of figure out what I was doing here. And here we are now, 22 years later. I think we have a pretty tight ship, myself and Justine, my COO. We have a pretty good idea of what we're doing now, but it took a long time and a lot of mistakes to get here.
Well, it always does, right? And the challenges along the way are really what make us who we are. So I'd like to ask this question.
Okay.
What challenges did you have to overcome in order to be where you are today, personally?
Okay, well, I would say that I guess one of the first things is I arrived here with less than $1,000. It took me 4 years to save that money, and I spent it in about 8 days. So the challenge was not having any family over here, not knowing anybody over here. My grandparents were still in upstate New York in a town called Purdy's near Somers. So I had my grandparents in New York, but I had come to Rhode Island because through a connection, we found out there was some jobs in a hotel here, and we just all arrived working in this hotel. There was like 12 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. So I think one of the things I had to overcome was just arriving, not really knowing anything, not knowing anybody in America, not really having any money. My parents, we never felt like we didn't have any money, but we didn't. And it's obvious to me now as I look back. I guess that's one of the obstacles I came over. The other one I get is, we get people, we're not actively recruiting, but we always get people coming in looking to join our team. And one of their biggest obstacles seems to be, well, I'm from Massachusetts, or I'm from Connecticut, or I'm from New York. I'm moving here. I don't know how to work in SOI. I don't know how to get started from nothing. And I just keep telling them, look, I'm not even from this country, and I did okay. So there's a solution to every obstacle that we have. So I would say one of the other obstacles, Marie, is that I'm not from here. I'm not from Rhode Island. I'm not from Newport. I'm not even from the United States. So you just have to develop your own SOI and get out there and meet people and follow up and get it to the point where you can work your database. And I guess the only other obstacle really is just, I'm still with my brokers, and I love them dearly, Bruce and Joe. But I think that I've really essentially had a team since about 2002 or 2003. And it's just basically, I think, making it up as you go along. I mean, there was no roadmap. This is how teams are. This is how you pay people. This is whose responsibility is what. Here's who takes care of this. So again, these are expensive mistakes. You overpay, you grossly underpay. Neither is good. Both are equally damaging. Both are equally damaging, to be honest with you. And then you just figure it out. So I would say those are the things I had to overcome, was just that I didn't really have an SOI to begin with. I didn't have a whole lot of money when I first came here. I think I washed dishes for at least 3 years after I got my real estate license, at least. And then I, progressed into bussing tables and waitressing. And I think it was probably 8 to 10 years after I got my real estate license that I finally was able to quit the restaurant business. So these are struggles everybody goes through. What we're trying to do with the younger agents on our team is we're trying to give them a shortcut to success. We're trying to eliminate the expensive mistakes that I made 15, 20 years ago, and hope that they learn from that, and hope that they can fast track their way to a successful career.
So let's talk about that. You have a system that they're able to plug into and hit the ground running when they join your organization?
Absolutely.
So what does that look like?
Well, what does it look like? I mean, we bring people in. We are not recruiting right now because we need a bigger space. So we have, I think we have 12 licensed agents right now. We've hired at least 6 in the last year, just because we do meet with people, because it's kind of rude not to, right? We meet with people. I know a lot of people in Remax are heavy recruiters, but we're not, because we have a really nice, tight ship that's very successful. We do $100 million in business. I make enough money. I'm very happy. My CEO makes money. She's happy. The agents are all happy. Everyone's 100% club or platinum. But sometimes you meet people and, it's hard not to hire talent. I mean, that's how we ended up hiring the last few agents. Or if they have a real niche that we're looking for, like we hired a military spouse, we hired a Latino Spanish speaking agent, we hired an agent that lived in a neighborhood that we really wanted to capture and circle prospects. So sometimes, Maria, you hire people because it makes a good decision. So our onboarding process is essentially a 3 or 4 interview process. And in the very first one, we're just meeting with people just to be nice, to meet with them, to see if we really, really like them. But all we're really trying to do is, do they fit into our culture and do they bring anything to the team? That's really all we're trying to assess, because we've had people walk out of interviews and we follow up with them for a second interview and they're like, hey, we really like you. We really like your team. We really like your structure. I just don't want to work that hard, And I'm like, well, I'd love to know that now ahead of time, because we have a very regimented, obligatory logged prospecting. We've got call hours. We have in-house coaching. We've got coaching with Coach Mike. Then we have follow-up hours to the coaching with Coach Mike. Like, we give them structure. They got plenty of white space to meet with buyers and do prospecting. But, our team is very, very structured, and it's a 40-hour work week / 55-hour
At
work
least.
week. But yeah.
I tell everybody.
You'd be amazed how many real estate agents don't work 40 hours, Maria.
I'm not amazed.
It's the only industry on the planet where people think they can show up at 10:30 because they've been showing at 10:30 and then go home at 3 because their home inspection at 1:30 is over. It's the only industry in the world where people don't expect to work 9 to 5 but want to make 6 figures. In the world, it's literally
in the world.
You can toss mortgage guys in there, but I think real estate agents are worse because their entrepreneurial spirit and their natural personality leads them more in this direction. They don't want the consistency of 9 to 5. And anyway, that's just something I've run into.
Well, I would say that's probably 95% at least.
Yeah, we literally call them the 99%ers in our office. That's what we call them. The 99%ers. This is what they do, so we're going to do it differently. This is what they do, so we're going to try this. And we just try to be different. You have to be in this business, otherwise you just, this business is saturated, Maria. There's real estate agents everywhere.
There are.
There's 500 on this island alone, where I live, and it's tough. I know some people have 18,000 in the city to live in, but I live on a relatively small island with less than, I think, 75,000 people, and there's about 500 to 600 agents. So everywhere you go, you run into real estate agents. You just got to differentiate yourself any way you can.
Yeah, and I bet there's 5% who do the majority of the business.
Yeah, it's the same people. It's the situation here is the same as it is in Philadelphia, same as it is in San Diego, same as it is in Colorado Springs. You see the same agents over and over and over again. Every time we plug a listing in there, it's the same 5 or 6 agents calling us. Same every single time. And then 1 or 2 out of every 10 transactions is a non-producing agent.
So I like that you started your team in 2002, 2003. That's pretty early on for a team to start. I started
because I had some success really early. I had some success. Sorry, Maria. I thought you were finished there. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay. No, I was just saying that I started my team in 05 and 06, 05, 06, around there somewhere. And it was not taken very well in the industry.
Yeah.
How about where you are?
Yeah. See, we didn't exactly call ourselves a team. All the sales went under me. But essentially what happened was I had some really big success early. In my first year at RE/MAX, I was a platinum agent. My first year. So I had some success very quickly, very early. And what essentially happened was one of the only good traits I have is the ability to recognize what I'm really shit at, right? And I was terrible at paperwork, and I was terrible at follow-up, and I was terrible at typing and admin stuff. So by necessity...
Sounds like me.
By necessity, I had to go out And I essentially had a rental agent, a showing agent, and a transaction coordinator. Sometimes not all at the same time, but I essentially had that way back in '03, '04, '05. It really didn't become a team in earnest till about 10 years ago when they actually started naming us teams. But I had to, because I would go to the listing presentation, I would prep, I would know all about these people. I would get there early, I'd look at their house, impress the crap out of them, crush my competition, get in there, get the listing, love it, get the high, get the adrenaline rush, boom, on to the next one. And then like 6 days later, I'm like, did I even like send them paper? Did I even call those? Like, I wouldn't even call them, because all I wanted was the listing. I didn't want to do the paperwork and go back and get people to sign it. So anyway, I learned very early on that if I wanted to be successful, if I wanted to achieve the goals that I had at that time, that I needed to not only understand how to leverage other people's time to go from platinum to chairman, but also to hire people that do things that I'm just really not good at.
Smart. I had this very similar experience.
Good.
So when in the early 2000s, we still had the triplet kit.
Yeah.
Where you have to rip them apart. So I would rip them apart, and there was papers everywhere. And I literally would have like a massive anxiety attack. And I have a lot of hair, and I was pulling droves of hair out of my head, trying to organize the paperwork. Within 2 months, I said, can't do this. I'm going to quit this job if I cannot figure out how to get this done. So I'm like, I have to get an assistant immediately. Yeah. I also, Joe, I don't know if you had this experience, but when I entered the industry in 2004, I said this was the stupidest business I've ever seen in my life. Meaning, how can one little agent do 7 different things that are required in a real estate transaction? Well, and so out of necessity, because of the administration and not having the capability to do some parts of it very well, like contract management, I had to have people I said, there's all these pieces, right? So there's one, we have to make it rain. Then we have to follow up on the rain, the opportunities, the leads that come in. Then we have to go on the sales call itself, then do the administrative work, the marketing, the contract management, all these things. How would it be possible? Which is how I developed and came into being a team and building the organization from in a team perspective. Is that the same experience that you had?
Well, yeah, I'll just answer your question. It's not possible. And you're asking this question in 2004. There are still agents now, 17 years later, who think that they can, well, not that they think they can, and they are. I don't know how, but they are individual agents. I can think of some excellent ones that do tremendous business. In my opinion, it's not possible. I don't mean that. I don't mean that there's not one individual on the planet that could possibly do this. What I'm referring to is I don't actually believe that somebody with the inherent entrepreneurial skill to get out there and sell real estate, that the same person and the same personality can be good at paperwork and can be good at creative marketing and creative thought processes. It's just not in our DNA. It's not. It's very, very hard to find a creative person that's an excellent salesperson, that's super organized, that crosses every T, that dots every I. Why would you think that you're a great salesperson, but you're also a great marketer? You're not. You suck at it. Hire somebody to do it for you and focus on what you're actually good at. It's amazing how many real estate agents will put down the phones, $250 an hour work, to type a contract, $17 an hour work. They're literally robbing themselves of $200 every hour they do that, and they're doing it for 20 hours a week. I'll never understand it, quite frankly, Maria, but it works for some people, and they're able to do it, and they're hugely successful. I just don't know what their life balance looks like. That's something I don't know.
How about this? Try Try going on vacation in that world.
How does it happen? Who checks your text messages? I mean, I guess you could have a work buddy, they cover for you, you cover for them, but it's not the same because they still have their own business, they still have their own things going on. Like when I'm gone, Julie's only responsibility is just to make sure that my business ticks along, that I know who needs to be called and what she can handle. But I can't even imagine, honestly, I can't imagine life. I can't imagine what it would be like trying to make lacrosse games and soccer games and dance and aggro and I'm trying to think tin whistle and recorder and all these things that my kids do. I can't imagine what it'd be like to try and attend all of these things, not waste leads, which I was doing consistently for years, and make more money. I don't know how you can do those three things without leveraging other people's time. I don't know how it's possible. So I'm not trying to criticize anybody. Obviously, I think it came across wrong. I just don't understand it. I don't know how it's possible. And that's why I think the team concept has always worked for me. And I'm going back, I've been a team for basically 17 or 18 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And I wouldn't say you said something about wasting leads. What do you mean by that?
Well, what was happening was I was so completely overwhelmed with trying to type purchase and sales agreements, deliver them, make sure everything's all set, go on listing presentations, convert all these opportunities I had, that I would get an email from some random buyer that I didn't know. And I would just like, I can't handle this. And I would just, I'll get to it tomorrow. And the next thing, you've got 18 to 20 dead Zillow leads in your box that you never followed up on. That was actually one of the primary reasons, outside of wanting to make more money and having more time to myself, why I started and expanded my team, because I'm like, I will just literally feed these leads to somebody in my team. They have the time and the inclination. They'll actually run with it and give it the effort that's necessary to convert that lead. And I'll still get paid on it. I won't get paid the 100%, but I'll get paid a 25% referral fee or whatever split you negotiate with your team members. That's the biggest thing. When you're that overwhelmed and you're that busy, you're letting a lot of leads fall through the cracks.
Great. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about systems. What does your tech stack look like?
Tech staff?
Tech stack, like your CRM, all the different. So we use Follow Up Boss, Altos, Vulcan 7.
Okay, so everybody's on Follow Up Boss. Right now we have 12 agents, but up until very recently we had about 6 or 7. We've just really gotten aggressive lately. But we have a team assistant. So I have my own personal assistant, and then everybody on the team shares an assistant, and that assistant will work with Follow Up Boss and provide accountability. So they meet twice a week with the team assistant for 30 minutes, and they'll say on Monday, okay, you've got 17 overdue tasks. Okay, well, I don't care what your week looks like. By the time we meet Friday, that has to be 0. Or I noticed we did an audit of your Follow Up Boss, and you've got 35 contacts in here who aren't sourced properly. I want them all done. So we work with Follow Up Boss. All the agents have their own one. They have somebody watching and auditing their Follow Up Boss constantly, and then giving them essentially tasks to complete with accountability, because we meet in person so often. We use Spokio. Sorry?
Oh, go ahead. Spokio?
Yeah, we use that for phone numbers and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to ask me what programs we use, like software programs?
Exactly.
We use Spokio for, to get the phone numbers to cold call, because once we farm a neighborhood, and I know, and most people listening to this, if you don't follow up with a phone call, it's essentially useless. I mean, no matter how nice your graphic card is, and you give them a free coffee, and you talk about you give them value, you talk about the neighborhood and the values, they're going to read it and toss it, right? Now, if you follow up with a handwritten note, and then you follow up with a phone call, even if they tossed it, they'll remember you, in their short-term memory, because they read it at least before they threw it in the trash. So Spokio is very important, because we insist upon phone calls after working a neighborhood. We just feel like it's useless. It's essentially not even worth doing if you're not going to follow up with a call. We use Canva for all of our video and content creation stuff. We've got a whole marketing department. And we heavily lean on Canva for design stuff. We come up with it, we use the design, and then the agents can go in. We'll create one for one agent, and then they can go in and edit that process and use it themselves.
Is that for your the marketing for the listings and things like that, or social media?
No, this is more like digital buyer consults and that kind of thing. Like we have a digital buyer consult at every agent. The second they get a Zillow call, they will hit them with a digital buyer consult, which is them. It's the recording of them talking about themselves and our team and the process. So before we even get to meet with them or schedule a buyer consult, they've already received and watched our digital buyer consult, and that's all done through Canva.
So you're sending them a video through Follow Up Boss as soon
Second
as
they get
that.
it.
I see. So it's not
So
an email; it's a video, and it's individual to each agent.
They all have their own. We all have our own digital buyer consult. We all have our own listing leverage, which is essentially our digital listing presentation. So what they do is when they're online and they're looking at Zillow or any of those things, right, or any of those websites, Trulia, Redfin, all those things, their information is immediately getting shared to a minimum of 5 agents, right? Sometimes we know it's a lot more. And everybody's calling them, oh yeah, pretending it's their listing. Oh, can I arrange a viewing for you? Blah, blah, blah. No, we hit them with a digital buyer consult. Hi, here I am. I'm Joe. Here's the process. I'm going to give you some value. Going to give you some content. You hear my voice. You see my face. You recognize me. I'm creating rapport with you before you even know it. Then you follow up with a link to your schedule once, which is where they can click on it, go to your schedule an in-person Zoom actual buyer consult. So we're giving them value like within seconds.
Sure.
As soon as we get that, and then you follow up a call. Hey, did you get my video? How was everything? Yeah, can we set that up? Let's talk. Do you have any questions? Do you want to see the property?
How long are your videos?
I think the buyer consult's about 4.5, 5 minutes, which seems like a lot, right? In the digital world and with these millennials. If this was on Instagram, it's 30 seconds, right? If it's on Facebook, it's a minute. If it's on YouTube, it's 4 or 5 minutes, because if they're on Trulia looking at properties, statistically speaking, they're more likely to watch a 4 or 5 minute video because they're at least considering purchasing or selling their home. So I know it sounds like a lot, but it's a long process. You got to talk about you, your team, liquid people. I've sold people houses and they come in to sign the P&S and they don't have 5% in their checking account. And they're like, oh yeah, I need a check for 20 grand. It's like, oh, I only have like $1,400 in my account. I'm like, I just show this person 85 houses. So we just get all of those things. It's all about disclosure, really. This is the process. This is what we expect from you. This is what you should know. And it eliminates a lot of hassles and heartaches and disappointments after you've shown these people 1 million houses.
Oh, yes. The buyer strategy session is critical to the success of an agent and the buyer, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because we want to know that they have the money in the bank to do this loan, to make this purchase. And we want to know up front.
Of course. It's just a nicer way of asking it, right? Just a nicer way of asking it. Instead of saying, hey, are you broke? Have you got any money? Talk to me. Show me your bank account. You just walk through the process and explain what's expected of them. And then if they're buying a $500,000 house and they don't have 25 grand in the bank, at least they know during the digital buyer process, not even the in-person buyer consultation, that this is what's expected and can save you a lot of time.
Oh, I love to see your video. And then the listing one, the same thing?
Yeah, it's called the listing leverage, and we each have our own individual one. Every agent on the team just talks about all the things that we provide. Everyone does the photos and the video and the drone. We do that for every single listing, whether it's 50 grand or 5 million. Everybody, we are consistent. Everyone gets the same, the floor plans, but we do like schematic designs and we have a lot of stuff that we do. I don't know how to go into this too much. I mean, what I'll probably do is send you a link to it. You can see it, Maria, but it just kind of talks about all the things that we do from the start to the finish, so that the potential homeowner has already watched our digital presentation, knows what's coming in the physical presentation, and then has questions already lined up for you. And it's also extremely impressive because our marketing department is amazing. And we have lots of high quality digital photos, and the presentation looks good. Of course, there is meat in there. It's not all fluff. We are the number one team and number one Remax team in Rhode Island, and we are the number one team in our local market. So there's a lot of that stuff too. To some people, that's important. Is it important to you that do you want to work with number one? If that's important to you, great. That's us. Do you need someone that's going to, hold your hand and walk you through this process? Great, that's us. We have every personality on this team. That's the great thing. No matter what you're looking for, we can provide that. And a lot of these digital presentations get that out front right off the bat. In fact,
That's smart.
we did a presentation on how to record a digital consultation to a lot of teams, Remax teams around the country. We put together a presentation and met with them and presented it to their team.
Awesome. That is so smart. And it's a great way to leverage your time and to give people the information, because I'd say one is the information that they need to say, hey, am I going to move forward with this, or am I maybe going to save more money?
Yeah, it's just golden rule number one. No matter what you're doing, give them value right up front. If you're knocking on their door, give them value. Give them something they want.
So
stick your hand out before you bring it back, You're watching a video like this, give them something. You got to give people value, content. You got to give them something, or why else would you watch something? Why would you listen to a podcast if you're not going to get something out of it? As interesting as I am, nobody really wants to hear about my 4 days in Greece. They want to know, what do I do to separate myself from other agents? What can they do to separate themselves? I mean, I would highly recommend recording a digital buyer consult and hitting every buyer with it immediately. It's no less effective than, I'm sure people are out there doing, dead Zillow bombs, right? So somebody's in your follow-up boss for 4 months. They won't talk to you right before you delete them. Put together the strip campaign saying, hey, it's me. I'm still out there. You live? Did you buy something? Did you move? Can I help you? Can I show you anything? It's the same thing with the digital buyer consult. You're just putting yourself out there. This is who I look like. This is what I sound like. And you're creating a rapport. I mean, sometimes your dog's in the background. You guys saw my daughter there a few minutes ago. Sometimes it just makes it more, more of a connection.
Real.
It's more real. Exactly.
Makes it more real. People want to know that you're a real person and that they can relate. I mean, that's why people hire people, because they feel like they are relatable to you. I was listening to something yesterday. I work with Bill Pipes. I don't know if you know Bill Pipes, but he's a pretty big trainer in the real estate space. Anyway, he was talking. We had all of our agents in the room. Not everybody, but a lot of them were there in the room. And we're watching him on the webinar. Oh, actually, it was live. It was a webinar, and he said, people are excited to work with you. They say yes. And then you get there and they don't hire you because you're resistant to them. So the way that somebody may show up, they invited you to their home to list their house. They want to list their house. Yet something happened in your being when you showed up that you weren't open to those people, and they felt it. Did you ever leave a listing presentation and go, I don't know what the hell happened? Is this good? Or
yeah, I'm pretty good at my posture, being open, don't cross my hands. I'm
not
good
you,
at that kind of stuff.
But generally, most people, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's how you present yourself. It's how you conduct yourself during a listing presentation. Like 99%ers, right, Maria? They walk in, they walk to the house, they allow the homeowner to walk them through. They're very polite. They look good. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not me. I'm in there. They've invited me to their home, so I thank them, and I usually bring them something that will last a little long. They can put right in their table, a little plant, or something along those lines. I usually bring a gift with me, but once I am invited into their home and I give them the gift, then I'm in charge. I mean, they're there for me. They want information from me. You have to be polite about it, but I go in there and yes, I'll walk through the house, but I know what it is. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath colonial. I'm going to list it for $800,000. I already know all these things. Whatever little subtleties, rooms are nice or not, don't really matter. So I make a beeline right for the kitchen table. I sit them down and I say, I don't have any paperwork with me. And I know people love bringing paperwork. I don't have any Remax rah stuff. I don't have any stats. I just came here to meet you. And I sit them down and I just say to them, what's important to you? That's it. And then I shut the hell up and I say nothing. And they will give you the keys to the castle. They'll tell you what is it, timing? Is it price? Is it who buys our house? They'll tell you everything you want. Real estate agents just cannot get out of their own way. They cannot, they literally, and I've seen it and I'm training people. I'm like, stop it. Why are you talking? Sit there, ask them what's important to them. What's important for them? Is it timing and so on? Let them tell you. They'll tell you everything you want to know.
What's important to you? What's
That's
important?
it. That's
And
the
then
question.
they say, oh, Joe, listen, we just want to know what the price is. What's the price?
Fine. If they're high Ds and they want to get to the point, boom, I'm in that party. I'll tell you right away. If they want to tell me their life story, go for it.
What percentage?
You know?
90% tell you the life story, right?
I'll take it if that's what you want. Some people don't. Some people are like, give it to me. What's your commission? What's the price? And when can I get out of this house? And then get the hell out of here. And I'm like, fine, I can be a high D too. I mean, I can respond to anything. But I'll usually know before I get there because I'll do like a CCQ. I'll usually know before I get there what kind of personalities I'm dealing with. So I know if I'm spending 2.5 hours or if I'm spending 15 minutes.
Okay, so let's stop for a second. CCQ. Okay. What is a CCQ?
It's a client care questionnaire.
Ah, yes, we have one of those.
Sure you do. If you actually spend 15 minutes on the phone with them before you get there, they'll tell you their personality type. They'll tell you what they're into. They'll tell you how much they think their house is worth. They'll tell you how much of a mortgage they have. They'll tell you the last time they renovated their kitchen. It's just a series of questions and boom, boom, boom. They're giving you you already have all the ammunition. All the gold. Everything you're trying to get out of a listing presentation you have before you even get there.
Absolutely, you do.
Yeah.
If you do it right.
Yeah, it's like 15 to 20 questions. You can just make it up yourself. I have one I can share, but you can just make one up. Just what do you want to know? What would you love to know? Yeah. What do you want to know, Maria? If you were coming to my house right now and competing with two other agents.
I want to know the last time you renovated the kitchen. I want to know the last time you renovated the bath. I want to know if you're interviewing any other agents. Maybe I want to know that. Maybe I don't. I want to know also, when do you plan on moving? How soon do you want to be there? Why is this move important to you on a scale from 1 to 10? How motivated are you to get this home sold? What happens if the home doesn't sell? I want to know all this information.
There you go. You get it before you even get to the house. But the most important question is, I know you're on Zillow. I know you're on Trulia. I know you know your neighbors. I know you've had barbecues at your friend's house. What do you think in this market your house is worth? They'll tell you. You'll already know their expectations. How many people would love to know that before they enter a house? Have a CCQ and just it's in a mix of. You're not like coming right out. It's just here's another question. By the way, what do
60% through the questionnaire? We have it in.
Just toss it in there, and they'll tell you, and that's gold. Oh my God! Go walk into a listing presentation already knowing what their expectations are. That's gold, man. That is just beautiful.
So you're there, you ask them what's important to them, you shut up and you listen, and then talk about price.
Build rapport, talk about price. Obviously, I have my script. I'm constantly defending our commission because we're 6% commission. And, I constantly get the question, Jimmy will do it for 5%. And I'm like, well, Jimmy should do it for 5% because Jimmy sucks. And if I was Jimmy, I'd do it for 5% too. This is where we go with this. We have a script. We work on the teams. We role play. We protect our 6%. And what I figured out, because I used to just give in all the time, right? I need this listing because I'm going to get another listing in front of the neighborhood and an open house and pick up all these buyers, right? I'm just going to take 5%. But what you learn is while protecting your 6% and perfecting that script, you're also perfecting your listing presentation. Because all the things you're mentioning while protecting your commission are the things that you want these people to know. But at the end of the day, they will understand that what's more important, the commission you pay or the money you net at the end of the transaction. And by the time that listing presentation is done, and I've gone through all the things that we do, I have them convinced that I'm going to get them 106% of what Jimmy's going to get them. So they're actually saving the 5% they're paying. They're paying, some other discount agent 4 or 4.5, all this kind of nonsense. I don't even try and compete with that. I'm like, I'm not even going to talk to you about 4%. I mean, we all know the line. If they can't even negotiate their own commission, how the hell are they going to negotiate you a good deal? I mean, you gotta scare the bejesus out of them, Maria, right? I'm going to say it's you and Jimmy against the world. Everybody on this planet, every buyer, every buyer's agent, every neighbor, everyone who thinks they know anything about real estate, their only job is to get this house for the least amount of money. Your only job and my only job is to sell this house for the most amount of money. Are you really going to go to battle against the world with Jimmy to save yourself 1%? It just doesn't make any sense. And I don't even engage them or kind of acknowledge that this is a possibility. In my mind, they're going with me and they're paying for the best. And most of the time, they agree with me.
Good stuff. Solid. I love it. I love it. Lots of
You're going to pull that CCQ out of your drawer?
Lots of good information here, Joe. So what I hear, you got Canva, Spokio, Follow Up Boss. Any other systems that you use?
Typeform is fantastic.
What is it?
Typeform. It's like $30 a month. We use it every day. It's a call to action. So it's a Typeform. So when you put something out on social media, hey, do you like the yellow? Do you like the red? Should I sell? Should I go? All this kind of stuff. When they click on this, it's a Typeform. We use it for like invitations for our RSVP client events. We use it for lead capture online. It's called Typeform. And you can keep it very simple: name, number, and email address. We don't get into what are you looking for and all that kind of nonsense, because people get bored and they just get off. We just want to capture. It's a call to action, especially for social media. You know, Instagram is for brand awareness, right? Facebook is for interaction, and YouTube is for views, right? So once you understand what your social media is and you put that Typeform in there, if you're trying to get a call to action on something, Typeform is fantastic. Just look at it. It's a typeform.com. We use it all the time for all sorts of things.
I never heard of that one.
And it'll bring it right into an Excel spreadsheet, which integrates right into your follow-up boss, Maria, which is great. But hey, I wanted to ask you a question, if you don't mind. I know we're short on time. Is that okay?
Yeah, we're good.
You had mentioned that when you go to listing presentations that you like to know who you're competing with, right? So let's just assume an average of 3 agents. You're one of those 3. And if given the option, which is very rare, do you like to go first, second, or third?
Third.
You always like to go last?
I prefer to go last.
Okay, I always go first, so I need to know why. Tell me.
Because they always remember the last person that came in more than the first person that came in.
Not if you're Jimmy, they won't.
Well, not if they're you.
But you're not Jimmy, though.
And I got to tell you, I don't go into a lot of competing situations. I handle in our company a little bit more of bigger things and commercial. So I like to give the residential stuff to some other folks. I don't really love the residential game of it, you know. When I'm in the commercial world, the commercial people, when we speak, it's clear that I know what I'm talking about. Very clear. And I'm not up against other people. There's like the competition is very slim because there's not many people that do it. And the ones that do it, they work for these big companies like CBRE or, you know, JLL or something like that. And they don't handle that $1, $2 million, $3 million deal. So it's an opportunity for folks like us, you know, to do well in that arena. And I love it. And it's non-emotional.
I love commercial. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do mostly residential, but I sell a lot of restaurants and businesses around here. I love commercial because the numbers go up like that. You know, you got a commercial building that grosses up $200,000 a year, $250,000 a year. It's selling for $2 million. It's hard to get a $2 million residential listing, or at least here it is in Rhode Island.
Oh, it's hard here. There's not a lot of them. Yeah. And so, you know, you're dealing with like, okay, a couple $100,000 here and there. Well, those people want to interview a lot of people. And I have little patience at this juncture.
I know. People are the worst, huh?
I'm just being honest, Joe. Being honest. That's the only way I know how to roll. And my honesty probably causes us to lose deals.
Nah, never say that, Maria.
Well,
gotta be yourself. You got to be yourself.
I'm just rolling with what I got myself and how and putting it out there. And, you know, I believe in telling the truth and doing the right thing regardless. So, you know, a lot of times people want to, I can't figure out how you can make a $500,000 house worth $610. Can't figure it out.
You can't. And by the way, no matter what they say, no matter what nonverbal reactions they're giving you, you tell them the truth. If their house is a shithole, you tell them. They may not appreciate it immediately, but deep down, that they want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear, yeah, we can make this. Oh, that's not too bad. We could do this. No, your house is a dump. This is what we need to do. Either fix it up or you sell for this price. I mean, at the end of the day, being truthful, Maria, most people I find will appreciate that, even if you're telling something they don't want to hear, because there's not a whole lot of value in somebody telling you what you want to hear, right?
Well,
So
I think it's going to be even more important as things, change in the marketplace to make sure that we're in front of whatever's coming down the pike too,
yeah, we can't wait. We've been prepared for this down market for a
Yes.
year and a half. I'm like,
Yes.
hurry up already. Good
Come
Lord.
on. Well,
We
I
can't
think we'll
wait.
see. Yeah, I think by, third quarter, end of year, I think it'll be a little bit different than where we are today.
Agreed.
So is there any other systems that you use that you want to share?
I think most of what we do, I don't know about systems, but most of what we do is we focus on marketing. I mean, that's where our main focus is. The digital buyer consult we talked about, the listing leverage, the type form. Our website is top notch. In fact, we just went up to Providence on Wednesday and got a whole new set of branding photos, really focused on the red, white, and blue of Remax. We're going Remax heavy this year. I brought my whole team to R4 last year, and it really invigorated everybody and got them into the Remax brand, because locally the Fitzpatrick team is a major punch. Everyone knows who we are. Everyone's heard of us, but they're starting to realize that it's Remax on the Fitzpatrick team, powered by Joe Fitzpatrick or whoever the individual agent is. So I think they're starting to see that. And we're going more Remax centric this year. That's why yesterday's photo shoot, everything you'll see it in a couple of days if you follow us on Instagram. But you'll see it's all red, white, and blue, and it's a lot of Remax stuff. And I think they're really embracing it. So, I went off track there a little bit. I can't think of other things that we do, but I know Typeform, Spokio, Follow Up Boss. We have our own custom designed website, so we don't use a standard website for that. And I can't really think of much more. WordPress we use, yeah. Is it a WordPress? I think it is. It either was a WordPress and we changed, or it was something else and we changed to WordPress. I don't get too involved with the whole computer things. I type with my toes. I just leave that up to the marketing people, which goes back to my original point. Crap at computers, step away and let somebody else take care of that. You focus on making your calls. That's all I do right now. That's it. I just make seller calls. That's it. I negotiate and I make seller calls. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Calling leads or calling current clients?
Both. I mean, we have Home Light that we sign up for, which gives us some pretty good leads. You have to call these people 6, 7, 8 times, but they are there. They are looking to sell, and they will answer at some point. So we have Home Light that gives us some really good, solid seller leads. I'm constantly working my SOI. We touch them every 30 days, period, no exceptions. It can be a text, it can be an email, it can be a phone call, it can be a bomb, it can be a pop-by. But we're touching our SOI every 30 days. We have 12 prepaid, pre-organized, pre-bought pop-bys for all our clients, for every single agent on the team. So we'll order. So we've got 12 agents. Now, they don't all have 50, I'll be honest with you. Some of them might have 12 or 15, but I have like 100. It's supposed to be a top 50, but what are you going to do? People give you referrals. You want to give them the gifts, don't you? So we're probably pre-ordering like 500 gifts. And then our interns will pop. What
do you get?
Okay, well, let me think if I can remember. Okay. So February, for example, because of Valentine's Day, we designed a really cool graphic where every single agent gave their top love story movie on Netflix. And then we gave it with a heart-shaped cookie and a microwave popcorn and wrapped it and mailed it to all our clients. Then in March, we worked with a local Irish bar and gave away a pint of Guinness. Every one of our clients got a coupon. They walked in there, they got a free pint of Guinness. In April, I don't remember. In May, it was Cinco de Mayo. So we gave 2 little tequila nips with a lime and a salt package in a really nice package and said Happy Cinco de Mayo and popped it on every single doorstep. June was suntan lotion branded by the FT. July is sparklers. August, we have our own beer. We have our FT, Fitzpatrick Team branded beer. And we put a 4-pack on everybody's, like a summer shandy on everybody's doorstep.
I love it.
Yeah. September is we partner with a local gym to do like a buy one get one off boot camp or a 20% off, and we sent that out because September people are thinking about getting back into routines. Thursday is the pie event. November is the pie event. December is, some sort of a Christmas party. I don't remember all of them, but we do 12 of them in advance. We order them. Everything's there. Everything's at the office. And then the interns, or we have a paid intern now. He was an intern, Ted. He's awesome. But we brought him back and we pay him, and we have interns. And they literally will go to all 500 houses and leave these gifts on there every 30 days. No exceptions. It's all about touching people. Maria, when you sell somebody a house, and no matter how nice you are, no matter how nice they are, but you don't have any overlapping friends or any overlapping activities that you do. He's a cyclist and I'm a soccer player, and he likes to go to this church and I go to that church. And you do not see that person for 5 years, even though you live in the same community, but you touch them every 30 days, they're going to call you because you're still top of mind. They're still thinking about it. And forget about all the times that you're top of mind. They're at a barbecue. Hey, I'm looking to sell my house. Hey, you should call Joe Fitzpatrick. That's why you touch these people every 30 days, 12 times a year, minimum, no exceptions. And this isn't all Buffini. It's not all Workman. It's not all Super Mike. It's not all, Tom Ferry. We take little bits and pieces from all of these guys that we love, and we put it into our own coaching package for our agents and our own systems and what we like and what we think works. And that's what we push out there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So smart and systemized and, and feel good.
Yeah.
And I bet your clients love it. And they love it. They love your
handwritten
team.
notes, Sorry, your dog died. It's not on anything with Remax or Fitzpatrick team. Everything. I actually learned this one from Karen Landry, who I'm sure you know, but she gave us a great one about just scrolling through Facebook and having literally a basket of cards, right? Congratulations, happy birthday, happy anniversary, I'm sorry to hear about your dog, whatever it is, right? And you're just scrolling through Facebook, you see someone has an anniversary, something's coming up, you just take the card, you handwrite it, and you put it in the next pile, which is with the stamps, and it goes out that same day. You send 4 or 5 handwritten cards per day. The impact is 1,000 times what a bomb is, even though I'm constantly telling my team to send out bombs because I love them. A handwritten note is 1,000 times more effective. If you lose a family member and you get a handwritten note, now you can't just send it to some complete stranger that you happen to be Facebook friends in, but Facebook is a good way to monitor who's out there, and then you have to have some sort of relationship with them. But if you send 4 or 5 cards a day, you watch what happens to your listings.
So
through
smart.
The roof.
That's awesome. Wow, it's been a lot of amazing information today, Joe. I think.
Well, I hope you get one. That's all I want. If you get one thing, Maria, somebody spends an hour listening to this, they better get something out of it.
Yeah,
right?
they're getting a lot of nuggets. It's great information. So before we wrap up, I always like to ask, favorite book you recommend?
The E-Myth Revisited. I know everybody says that, but it's just a fantastic book.
I love that book.
Yeah.
It's a great book. Betty
Eat That Frog is a very small, very basic, very easy to read book.
Brian
Tracy. I reference that thing every day.
Brian Tracy's the man. He wrote like 70 books.
No, I did not know that. No.
Yeah, I met him. I did a workshop with him maybe in 2015. Sat there with him, had lunch with him. The workshop was all about storytelling, telling your story to the world.
Love it. I love that book.
Eat the Frog.
And that's a great story. Yeah, it's great. It's
a
great book.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, Joe. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Be the Solution. You certainly are the solution for your family, your clients, and your team. And keep on doing that great work up there in Rhode Island. And Chip and I are going to come and see you maybe sometime this fall if it's not too cold there in October.
Absolutely.
You could come and check it out. I've been wanting to go to Newport for a very long time, and now I'm going to make it happen.
Awesome, Maria. I hope to see you at the Elite Retreat in September, or maybe in R4 in February, or maybe here in Rhode Island. Who knows?
Yes. Definitely are going to one of at least 2 of those things.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right, Maria. Thank you so much.